Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Bionicle Inspiration series, a series where I cover the community's building techniques and some cool mocks from the community to help you get out of a mocking block or get out of an artist block or just help you move along with the project you're currently working on or maybe something you're thinking about working on or give you an idea for something brand new you hadn't even thought of. Today we're going to be focusing on vehicles and I'm going to cover three very cool mocks to kind of, give you a few ideas as well as just cover three different examples. So the first mock we have today is Gorka the Miner by Galaxis Instant Noodles. Something I really like about this mock is it's got some really clever weapons. Obviously this is meant to be a sort of like mining vehicle, so it's got the drill, which I guess could be a weapon, but I wouldn't really classify it as one. But in this shot here, we've got sort of kind of laser things that pop out. I see that as being something that helps with the mining or possibly a weapon for, whatever cave monsters there are. But he's also got these little things, these like spear things. And it's a really fun feature in my opinion because here they sort of pop out and then he leaves them behind and then they're this sort of little, sort of satellite tracking device sort of thing so you don't get lost in the cave or, sends out a signal to say, oh, someone else has to come and mine here, that sort of thing. I think that's very cool and is a lovely little play feature. It sort of tells a lot of a story with the mock, which is cool. So I really like that. It's very simple, but very effective. Also with this vehicle, it's not, obviously it's sort of based off like mining equipment and things like that, but it's sort of a custom design in that sense. Like it's not, a redo of a real life vehicle, which is cool because you can kind of let your imagination run wild there, as you build, essentially whatever you want. Obviously, it's inspired by stuff, but it's from his own head, and that's always cool. Also, we've got the rider here, who's obviously Gorka, and he's he's adorable, but obviously not hugely custom and overly complicated, but I don't think that's a problem. The main focus of this mock is the sort of mining vehicle, so he doesn't need to be overly complicated, which is great, but an awesome little head design on him, So yeah, really like this from Galaxis. The next mock we have is Cerberus Chopper by Dave Foreman. So in contrast to the last mock, how I was saying it was kind of a custom design, not really necessarily based off of anything, this is obviously a Bionicle motorbike. So yeah, you've got the two different things there of making something completely from your head or making something in Bionicle form that you would find in the real world, which is really cool. And you also kind of get to put your own little spin on it, like all the sort of spikes and claws and things all over this kind of could actually be on a typical chopper. Obviously they wouldn't be too spiky, otherwise you'd hurt yourself, but it very much fits the sort of style, I guess, of what the motorbike would most likely have, and that's really cool. Some really cool parts uses here, like for example the Nuva chests for what would be the engine of the bike, and then the sort of spike witch doctor pieces there for the handles of the bike itself are very, very cool parts uses. And it's awesome here because you kind of get a lot of room to play with this. Like, for example, using the Antros wings there as what I see as kind of like a leather seat. There's so much uniqueness on this, and I think it kind of lends itself to it being a sort of more unique design. Like, not a lot of people build, vehicles for their mocks. But it's interesting how, this is a great example of it, how much you get to play with parts and kind of more easily come up with really cool part uses, which is awesome and definitely inspires me to build because I love it when I can come up with a really cool part use, and there's a lot here. Another little fun detail is at the back here, you've got the license plate, which is just a system piece. So great use of system for a fun little detail there. Another cool thing, you've used the Anika sword there, which obviously lights up and stuff. So it's cool adding little lights and things like that to sort of brighten up the mock a bit. That was not a pun that I intended, but it's a happy little accident. So yeah, really, really cool mock. Lots of really interesting part uses. So good job, Dave. The next mock we have is Red Boss by Crow, or Cronus Omega, or Ben, whatever you want to call him. Really, really sick mock. Something I like a lot about this is looking at the back here, you've got a lot of sort of robot-y mecha suit details with the sort of jets and the sort of, I guess, like pistons at the back there. But my favorite thing about this is this shot. Here it is without the rider inside, sort of in resting mode. And then here's a shot with him standing next to it. And I think that's awesome. It's very kind of like Iron Man-y, which is great. And something I guess you don't really see a lot with mechas is, specifically mechas in Bionicle form. I mean, you see it a lot with System, but you don't necessarily see the rider be able to sort of slot in like that. And I think that's awesome. Especially the way that it so seamlessly fits into the mock is amazingly well designed and looks so cool. And I definitely think that's something to really consider when building a vehicle is maybe it doesn't have to be a vehicle, maybe it can be a mech suit. And maybe it can be something like this, which they sort of slot into. Or, yeah, maybe you want to, give a sort of skinnier mock that you've got, or a smaller mock, maybe even a Matoran or something. You could give them a mech suit, which, how cool is that? That's so cool. So genius design there. Also, it's a mech suit. It doesn't have to be the same color as the mock, which is great, and it's especially great if you're looking to use a specific color of part that you've got heaps of. Then it's perfect. So we got a bonus mock. I had to include this because it's such a unique and awesome design. Again, by Galaxis, the same person who did Gorzak from before, or Gorka. Sorry, I said that wrong. Such a cool idea. It's a wind turbine in Bionicle form. What a unique thing. I've never thought I would have seen that. It's cool because I don't think it is, but you could motorize that if you really wanted to, and that'd be fun. But what I love about this is it has, I've said this before in other episodes, but it tells a story. All the little Zamispheres at the bottom there, I see that as kind of like the energy output or input or whatever, which then like powers the turbine, makes energy sort of thing. And then you got the little cute Matoran there, who's obviously like the worker or the maintenance guy or whatever for the turbine. And I see such a cool story there. Like I can see the whole city and everything that it's powering, or maybe he lives on a farm and that's the way he powers his farm, and he's a little cute worker guy. And I don't know, I think that's so cool. And using the Zamispheres as kind of the energy thing there is an awesome part use for a piece that, I don't know, I mean, some people have used it really well, but for me, they just sort of sit in my, in certain boxes at home. I never really use them. And that's so cool. A lot of awesome part uses here. And a really cool way, in my opinion, to use some parts that you maybe don't normally use. I can see a bunch of parts here that, I mean, this is sort of speaking from my own perspective. Other people might be like, dude, I use those pieces all the time. But a lot of the parts in here I sort of see as parts that I typically wouldn't normally use. So I think that's cool to kind of use all the parts that you maybe will just never use in your entire life and put them into an obscure, cool mock like this. So awesome mock from Galaxis. And that about does it for today for the Bionicle Inspiration Series episode on vehicles. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment, all that crap. And also check the links in the description for the links. No, I said it wrong. Damn it. Check the description for the links to the mocks that you see today. Be sure to check those mocks out, comment on those mocks, and check out some of the other things that they've made. Because, again, awesome builders. So be sure to see some of the other stuff that they've done. Also check the links in the description for places to message me if you're interested in suggesting some future theme ideas, or if you want to submit a couple mocks that you want to see on the show, whether they're your own or someone else's. More than happy to take those suggestions and see what I can do. Or just comment in the comments like people have been doing, and thank you very much to those people. If you have any ideas for future themes or whatever, comments are just as fine as those links. Anyway, that essentially does it for today. Thank you very much for watching. You have a fantastic day and happy building. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.